Tom Thumb. Once upon a time, there lived a poor man and a woman who had no children. Their only wish was to have a child. One night as they sat on their porch, they saw a falling star. The woman said, "Let's wish for a baby, no matter how small it would be." 7 months passed and their wish came true. A child no bigger than a thumb was born. Because he was so little, they called him Tom Thumb. And they loved him with all their hearts. Tom became wise and nimble, but he never grew in size. His parents were very careful to make sure nothing would happen to him. One day the boy asked his father if he could help lead the horse to where he was working. Tom told his dad, "I can help lead the horse by sitting by his ear to give him directions." Tom was doing a great job directing the horse as they went through the woods. Along the way, they met 2 strangers. The strangers had never seen such a small boy. They offered Tom Thumb's dad as much money as he wanted to sell Tom Thumb to them. They told his dad Tom Thumb would travel in exhibitions making a fortune because so many people would come to see the small boy. Tom Thumb's dad was upset and told the men Tom was not some jester and he was not for sale. Tom Thumb talked to his father about he may not be able to work so hard as he was getting older. Please let me go with these men and take the money so you can finally live a good life. I promise I will return soon. His father let Tom Thumb go, hesitantly, with the 2 men. When the 2 men stopped for lunch near the pastor's house, Tom Thumb jumped down and ran into the house and into a mouse hole. The 2 men tried to reach him, but Tom Thumb told them to go ahead and he would catch up with them. The men went on their way. Tom Thumb decided to stay the night in the mouse hole. Just as he was about to fall asleep, he heard some voices. The voices were that of robbers who were going to rob the pastor's house. Tom Thumb had an idea to save the pastor's house. He started to speak, but the robbers could not see him because he was so small. Follow my voice. I can help you with the robbery because I am so small I can fit anywhere. When they began to sneak around, Tom Thumb started talking very close to where one of the pastor's maids was sleeping. He woke up the maid and she chased the robbers away. Tom Thumb went to lay down in the hay in the barn to get a good night's sleep. When he awoke in the morning, he realized the cow had eaten the hay, and Tom Thumb was stuck in the cow's stomach. Tom Thumb began to yell for help. Tom Thumb managed to escape from the cow, only to be gobbled up by a wolf who was sneaking around the barn. Tom Thumb whispered from inside the wolf that he knew of a house filled with ham and bacon, and he could lead him there. Tom Thumb was secretly leading the wolf back to his parents' house. When they arrived, Tom Thumb's father began to get ready to attack the wolf. He had no idea Tom Thumb was inside. All of a sudden, he heard Tom's voice. Tom was rescued from the wolf by his father, who promised never to sell him again. Not for all the riches in the world. Tom Thumb and his parents lived happily ever after. The end. Once upon a time in the city of Paris, a young man lived in the bell tower of the Notre Dame Cathedral. He was strong enough to ring the church bells. He was also very gentle. Gentle enough to hold small birds in his hands. His only friends were the gargoyles. They did not mind that he had a hunchback and a face so ugly that his evil, cruel master named him Quasimodo, which means half-formed. Quasimodo knew nothing of the world below him. He only knew what his master told him. His master even taught Quasimodo to think of himself as a monster. Quasimodo wanted to join the crowds below him on the streets of Paris so bad, but his master would never let him leave. Quasimodo spent his days carving small wooden figures, wishing he could see the whole world below. Once a year, Paris celebrated the Festival of Fools. The gargoyles convinced Quasimodo to climb down the tower and attend the festival. Everyone wore masks at the festival, so no one would pay attention to Quasimodo's looks. Quasimodo went to the festival and saw the most beautiful gypsy dancer, Esmeralda. The master's newest soldier, Captain Phoebus, saw Esmeralda and also thought she was the most beautiful. All of a sudden, the crowd grabbed Quasimodo and made him king of fools, until they found out his face was not a mask. He was a monster. They tied him down with ropes so he could not escape. Quasimodo begged his master for help, but he refused. All of a sudden, the beautiful gypsy Esmeralda cut Quasimodo free and yelled at his master. "You mistreat Quasimodo like you mistreat my people," Esmeralda said. "You will pay for this," yelled the master, and he ordered his new Captain Phoebus to arrest her. Esmeralda snuck away into the cathedral with her goat. Captain Phoebus found her there and did not want to arrest her. He told her she could claim sanctuary as long as she stayed inside the church. "If she sets one foot outside this church, she will be my prisoner," said the cruel master. Quasimodo and Esmeralda became great friends. Quasimodo was confused because the master had told him how bad gypsies were, but Esmeralda was kind and good. And she did not think Quasimodo was a monster at all. "I think the master is wrong about both of us," said Esmeralda. Quasimodo helped her plan her escape. Quasimodo carried Esmeralda and her goat down the church walls to the street one night. She gave Quasimodo a special amulet and said, "Use this if you ever need help. It will show you how to find the Court of Miracles, the secret gypsy hideout." She promised she would visit Quasimodo again and kissed him on the cheek. When Esmeralda returned, she brought Captain Phoebus, who had been badly wounded. "The master attacked us, and Captain Phoebus tried to help. Please help him get well." Quasimodo agreed and hid the captain in the bell tower. The master still wanted to find the gypsies and thought Quasimodo might know where to find them all in their secret hideaway. The master tricked Quasimodo and told him he knew where the secret hideaway was, and he would attack the gypsies at dawn with 1,000 of his soldiers. This was just a trick by the cruel master. Quasimodo and Captain Phoebus decided they must use the special amulet to find Esmeralda and warn her. They secretly made their way to the Court of Miracles, but they had no idea the master and his soldiers were secretly following them. Quasimodo and Captain Phoebus led them to the secret gypsy hiding place. "Take them all away," the cruel master yelled to his soldiers. "No, please," begged Quasimodo. But the master had a heart of stone. The next day, the master had chained up Quasimodo in the bell tower and was going to punish Esmeralda in the courtyard below. Quasimodo broke his chains and rescued Esmeralda and brought her to safety in the bell tower. The master tried to break into the tower with his soldiers, but the gargoyles beat the master and his men. At last, the master's evil reign was over. The people of Paris cheered. Hip hip hooray for Quasimodo! Finally, Quasimodo understood he was not a monster at all. But to the people of Paris, he was a great hero. Long ago in a small village, a woodcarver named Geppetto made a wooden puppet. It looked so much like a real boy that Geppetto gave it a name, Pinocchio. The old man was so happy, he showed the puppet to his cat Figaro and his goldfish Cleo. As Geppetto showed his puppet to his dear pets, a small cricket named Jiminy Cricket snuck into Geppetto's house to have a warm night's sleep. Jiminy Cricket watched as Geppetto set the puppet down and gazed out the window at the stars. "Look at that! The wishing star!" Geppetto cried. Geppetto wished Pinocchio was a real boy. Soon it was bedtime, and Geppetto, Figaro, Cleo, and Jiminy Cricket all fell asleep. Before long, a beautiful light filled the workshop and woke up Jiminy Cricket. It was the Blue Fairy. She had heard Geppetto's wish and was there to make Pinocchio a real boy. She touched the puppet with her magic wand, and Pinocchio came to life. But Pinocchio had to prove he was brave, truthful, and unselfish to become a real boy. The Blue Fairy knew Pinocchio would need help, so she made Jiminy Cricket his helper, so he would help him to choose between right and wrong, and prove himself. Geppetto was delighted with Pinocchio, and he sent him off to school like a good parent. On the way to school, Pinocchio met a sly fox, who said Pinocchio could make a lot of money and didn't have to go to school. Jiminy Cricket didn't trust the sly fox. The sly fox said he could spend all of his time having fun in the theater instead of studying at school. Pinocchio said, "Okay!" and off he went with the sly fox to the theater owner. That night, the theater owner put Pinocchio on stage. He was a big hit as he sang and danced for the crowd. The crowd threw money on the stage. Jiminy Cricket, who was in the crowd, worried. After the show, the theater owner locked Pinocchio up and said, "You will live here and make me lots of money." Pinocchio and Jiminy Cricket wondered how he could escape. Luckily, the Blue Fairy arrived. She asked Pinocchio why he missed school. He lied. She asked him more questions, and each time he told a lie, his nose grew longer and longer. The Blue Fairy reminded him to tell the truth if he wanted to be a real boy. Pinocchio promised he would tell the truth. She fixed his nose and set him free. The next day, Pinocchio met the sly fox again. The sly fox convinced Pinocchio to not go to school, but instead play and have fun all day. Pinocchio followed the fox, not returning home after regular school time. Geppetto was worried and went to look for Pinocchio. Geppetto sailed his boat to search for Pinocchio, and he was swallowed up by a huge whale. When Pinocchio returned home from playing all day, he found this out, and he knew he must save Geppetto. Pinocchio and Jiminy Cricket found the huge whale, and they teased him with the fish. The whale grabbed the fish, the pole, Pinocchio, and Jiminy Cricket, and they were all swallowed into his belly. They found Geppetto in the whale's belly too. They must find a way to escape from the whale. They decided they would make the whale sneeze, and they would all escape when the whale opened his mouth. It worked, but when the whale saw them in the water, he thrashed around, knocking everyone about. Pinocchio had to grab Geppetto to save him. After a while, the water settled down and Geppetto and Jiminy Cricket awoke on the beach. They found Pinocchio lying lifeless on the rocks. Geppetto was heartbroken, and he carried his son home in his arms, convinced he had lost Pinocchio forever. Back in the workshop, Geppetto and Jiminy Cricket cried, and then all of a sudden, the blue fairy appeared. She touched her wand on Pinocchio and said, "Awake!" Pinocchio awoke, and the blue fairy said, "By saving Geppetto, you have proven yourself to be brave, truthful, and unselfish." "I am a real boy!" shouted Pinocchio. Pinocchio, Geppetto, Jiminy Cricket, and all the pets celebrated and danced as Geppetto's wish had come true. Pinocchio was a real boy. A long, long time ago, beyond the Great Wall of China, a tiny dragon named Mushu left his home in search of a young girl named Mulan. Mulan had cut her hair and dressed as a man to take her place in the war against the fierce warrior Huns. Mushu the dragon was supposed to guard and protect Mulan. "Walk like a man, legs apart," advised Mushu as she entered camp. "Punch the guys in the arm, they seem to like that. Call them nicknames and spit a lot." Every time Mulan followed Mushu's advice, Mulan caused more trouble. Soon all the new recruits were fighting. The camp was in total chaos. When Captain Chang arrived, Captain Chang asked Mulan her name. As Mulan tried to disguise her voice as a man, she told Captain Chang her name was Ping. Captain Chang was a strong and skillful leader. Mulan felt inadequate, but she worked hard and used her mind to finally win Captain Chang's respect. All of the soldiers admired Ping's determination and hard work. She inspired them. Not even her best friends knew that Ping was a woman. One day, Captain Chang led his troops to join the Imperial Army. Mulan and her friends sang songs, but sadly, their good cheer ended when they realized the army and their village were in ruins. Captain Chang was extremely upset when he realized his father, the general, had been killed in the battle. Mulan tried to comfort Captain Chang, but the Huns returned. Mulan proved to be a great and courageous soldier. Mulan, with Mushu's help, caused a huge avalanche that buried the enemies. Even though Mulan was wounded in the battle, she was still able to jump on her horse and rescue Captain Chang from the oncoming snow. As Mulan's soldier friends helped Mulan and Captain Chang back to safety, Captain Chang awoke and looked at Mulan with admiration. "From now on, you have my trust," he said, and he thanked her. Mulan's smile soon turned to pain, and as her wound was treated, everyone learned the truth about Ping. They all found out Ping was a woman. At this time in China, Mulan's deception was punishable by death. But Captain Chang spared her. "A life for a life," Captain Chang declared. Feeling rejected, Mulan watched as the troops marched away, leaving her alone with Mushu. With a sad, heavy heart, Mulan confided in her friend Mushu that she just wanted to do things right, so that when she looked in the mirror, she would see someone worthwhile. "But," Mulan said, "I was wrong. I see nothing." Mushu tried to make Mulan feel better and confessed he had set out to make Mulan a hero so he could regain his position as guardian. "At least you risked your life to help people you love. I risked your life to help myself," said Mushu. Mulan hugged the little dragon. How could she be mad at such a friend? This quiet moment was shattered when Mulan realized that a few of the Huns had survived. She raced toward the imperial city to warn Captain Chang. Mulan got there just moments too late, as the emperor had already been taken as a prisoner. Mulan's soldier friends tried so hard to break down the palace door, but without any success. Mulan said she had an idea. Mulan dressed her soldier friends as women. The Huns had no idea they were soldiers, and the soldiers got in and rescued the emperor. But Shan Yu, the Hun leader, fiercely attacked Captain Shang. To protect the captain, Mulan revealed herself to Shan Yu as the soldier who defeated him at the mountain. Shan Yu began to chase Mulan, but the dragon and Mulan had a plan, and they led him to the roof of the palace. Just when he reached the top, Mulan grabbed his sword and pinned his cloak to the roof. Mushu shot a rocket towards him, and Shan Yu disappeared in a blast of fireworks. Mulan was so happy as she realized she was special just as herself. She returned home and presented Shan Yu's sword to her father. He was so grateful. Captain Shang followed Mulan home as he realized his feelings for her had grown. Mulan was so much more than a great fighter. Finally, her heart was full. And Mushu, the little dragon, regained his guardianship, and they all lived happily ever after.